Hey everybody, and welcome to Comics from the Future. I'm Andy.
I'm Matt.
We're here with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and this is our big show. We're going to show you some of the biggest and best books that are coming out in a few weeks, so you can get online at infinityflux.net and start your pre-orders, because there is some Mondo books this time.
You're definitely going to want to submit some pre-orders this weekend, for sure.
Yeah, very, very important, because we are getting into the big stuff.
Yep.
You'll see what we're talking about as we get into it. But like I said, head over to infinityflux.net right now. You can follow along, place your pre-orders. Remember, everything you pre-order is due. Your pre-orders are due Sunday around 6 o'clock. So let's get into it, because our biggest featured comic is
Absolute Batman #1. Holy cow, this is huge. This is the first book in the new Absolute universe. Scott Snyder, Nick Dragotta. Andy and I got to read this past Wednesday, and we can tell you the hype is real. This book is awesome. It's a brand new Batman in a brand new universe. We said on Wednesday, forget everything you know about Batman, except for the fact that he's Bruce Wayne, because he is still Bruce Wayne. But he doesn't have his money. He doesn't have the cave. He doesn't have the butler or anything like that. He is essentially waging literally a one-man war on the bad things going on in Gotham. And in this issue, we are introduced to a gang called the Party Animals, and they are terrorizing Gotham City, and it's brutal. They're doing some pretty brutal stuff.
Scary.
Yeah.
It gave me very, like, the Purge vibes.
Yeah, for sure. And they are taking out their competition too. They're not just going after like innocent people on the street. They're also taking out other bad guys, other mob families, and that kind of thing. And Batman is the only one who can do something about it. Alfred is in this as well, but he's not Batman's butler. He is some type of secret agent. I'm not 100% sure if he's working for MI6 or something like that, but he has been sent by his superiors to Gotham City strictly to gather intel on the Party Animals. And of course, you know, he knows that there is another player in the field, and he is told that he can engage if they run into each other. But this, I don't want to say too much, because I definitely don't want to spoil this. I will say this is a 40-page book, and it feels like it's just the right length. Any shorter, and I would have, well, I mean, I want more anyway, but, you know, you get a nice, meaty story, and there are so many cool story beats that are set up in this, and as you read it, you realize how many more awesome things that they can do throughout the life of the series. Scott Snyder has said that he already has planned through issue 15, and I see it. You know, there's so much stuff here. I don't want to talk about too many of the differences, because I just want to let you.
I was going to say there are differences, and you'll see them more and more as you go.
Yeah.
And you'll start to understand more what this absolute universe, the feel of it, and the things that are similar. Because I would say, coming out of it, I felt like it didn't feel like I was fish out of water.
Right.
Like I was like, I still know Batman, and I know all this, but because of some key changes in it, it's going to go very different places.
Right.
So, everyone was saying, oh, this is like the ultimate universe for DC. It really is, but in like the best parts of that.
Right.
And this is not full of like, well, how do you become Batman? All the setup. Like, you get into the action right away in this.
Yeah, you do see, he does have a different origin, if you will, and you do see that, but it's not the main focus. Like, he's already Batman in this. There's a few flashbacks that fill in the story, but there's enough that is similar, but there's enough that is different. I simultaneously knew kind of what to expect, and also had no idea what to expect. I was excited reading it the whole time with every page. I didn't know, what are they going to do next and what's next. We could talk about this probably this whole show. It could just be about this, but this is awesome. I'd be want to say one of the best books I've read all year so far. I absolutely loved it. I didn't mean to say that, absolutely. But I absolutely loved it. So definitely pre-order this, because I do think it's going to sell out. I do think they're going to go back to multiple printings. Like you said on Wednesday, this could very well be for DC what Ultimate Spider-Man is for Marvel.
Yeah.
It really is the real deal.
Yeah, and don't miss out on being there in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because as this goes, more and more people are going to find out about it, want to jump onto it. It's new reader friendly, for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Like, you don't have to know anything that's going on in the main DC universe just know who Batman is.
Yep.
But even a lot of that is going to kind of be put to the test.
Yeah, absolutely. So this has our highest recommendation possible. Please pre-order this. So we got some really cool covers. This is our A cover by Nick Dragotta. So, and I will say too, Batman isn't quite that hulking in the book. I think it's a little exaggerated for the comic. He's a big guy, quite that big. We have a B cover by Wes Craig. We have a Jim Lee cardstock, and you actually do see that kind of in the book.
Yep.
There's a Mitch Gerads cover. And there is a logo foil variant, in case you don't know what the Batman logo looks like. There is a blank variant. There is a Jim Lee foil variant, so just a foil version of the Jim Lee cover. And then there is a Nick Dragotta foil cover as well. So that's probably the one I'm going to get because it's so cool.
Plus, we got that new DC Bullet logo.
Oh,
the new
yeah.
old DC Bullet logo.
Yeah.
And as different as this is, it still feels like just DC through and through in the best way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next up, we got a new one from Marvel. This is our next mini-series in the From the Ashes storyline with Mystique #1. This is going to be a 5-issue mini-series written and drawn by Declan Shalvey. And not a whole lot of information about this, but you can get a little feel from this cover that this is a very espionage-heavy story. And I think it's really cool because this involves Nick Fury as well, as Nick Fury stumbles upon a web of lies and espionage that leads back to Mystique. And it almost seems like maybe throughout history or all these cases and everything may actually have been Mystique the whole time. So it's like how you track someone who can change what they look like and whose very history and storyline is constantly changing. So of course she is one of the greatest espionage characters, the assassin, everything. And so it sounds really cool. It's going to be a tale about the dark underbelly of the Marvel Universe with a lot of action, targeting one of Marvel's most mysterious mutants. So I know there's a ton of Mystique fans out there. I think this is going to be really, really cool. Plus, I mean, From the Ashes has been hitting it out of the park the entire time. So we've got our A cover here by your interior artist and your writer, Declan Shalvey. We have a logo variant, in case you're wondering what Mystique looks like written out.
That's her. Yeah, that's her shape-shifted as her logo.
She's not Plastic Man.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
We have this really nice Ricky Yagawa variant.
Oh, that's my favorite one.
And we have a beautiful Rose Besh cover as well. I love the little skulls and everything. Very classic.
We've got another Batman book. This is Batman Full Moon, and this is a Black Label book, so it's telling its own story, free and clear of any other continuity. And this one is written by Rodney Barnes. The art is by Steven Subich. A powerful lichen stalks the streets of Gotham City. It's a werewolf book. Well, Batman's going to fight a werewolf. This werewolf, though, is going to defy Batman's mind and his gadgetry, leaving him with only his strength and resilience to deal with this werewolf. But is that going to be enough to take it down? Well, some of Batman's magical allies, like Zatanna, don't think so. They don't think that he will be able to walk away from this one. So yeah, this comes out on October 9th, which is right in the heart of spooky season. This is going to be a great book to read. And each issue of this is going to have a glow-in-the-dark cover as well. So yeah, just a really cool Black Label Batman versus a werewolf. I don't know if there's going to be something special with this werewolf, if it's going to turn out to be anybody. I don't know that. But Batman versus a werewolf, it sells itself right there.
I would say I previewed some pages of this. And this is definitely Black Label, where it's a bit more violent. Okay. I mean, it's pretty brutal with the werewolf. Nice. So even the art style is a little bit more of like the mature, a little scratchier, kind of how they do with some.
Is it in color?
So, yeah, okay. It is in color.
All right, so we have our A cover by Steven Subik. That's your interior artist. There is a Steve Beach cover. I love the moons on that. There's a Francesco Francavilla, which Francavilla doing horror stuff is always a great thing. And then there's a foil version of the Steve Beach cover as well.
Next up, we have The Terminator #1. So Dynamite Comics is now doing The Terminator. Dynamite has been knocking out of the park with just all the properties they're bringing in. Just really, really cool. So much like Mystique, this one is written by Declan Shalvey, but the art in this is by Luke Sparrow. And this is really cool. It's always hard to think, like, how do you follow up, especially a property like this that's, do you just tell the same story again or whatever? But I really like the direction they're going with this. So after failing multiple times to stop Sarah Connor and her son John, Skynet still has a few tricks up their sleeve, and that includes opening up the war on multiple fronts throughout time and space on the planet. So uh, they dispatch different Terminators to different parts of the world and different parts of time to stop resistance fighters, current day resistance fighters, by targeting their ancestors. Which I think it sounds really cool. So I'm hoping we're going to get some kind of period piece stories,
That
but
would be
with
really cool.
Terminator.
Yeah.
I'd love to see, early America, or just any like crazy cool.
Yeah.
Back when they didn't quite have the technology to face them.
Maybe like World War II era with Terminators. That would be neat.
Just possibilities are endless. And it says that these missions aren't as straightforward as the one that the T-800 and the T-1000 did, but time is literally on Skynet and the Terminator side, and there is nowhere and no when is safe. So I'm very excited about this. I think that sounds like a really cool idea. That they've been doing really awesome books at Dynamite lately with their properties, and I think this is going to be another one. So check it out. This is your A cover by Declan Shalvey. We have a Galman variant. We have a Sway variant. You don't really get any hints here about when this takes place. Like with these covers, sometimes you'd be like, "Oh, there's a colonial guy in the back."
Have we seen the Terminator in the jungle before?
I don't think so.
Or not in a movie anyway.
He does kind of stick out,
right?
And we have a. Let's see. This is the Cousins variant, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
And there is an Alex Ross Burning Earth icon. So, people might not know, Alex Ross's first published work was Terminator Burning Earth. And he did the covers and interiors for that. And so Dynamite sometimes will do take some old covers and do this kind of thing with them. So I think this is really cool to get one of those classic Alex Ross pieces of Terminator.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so next up is the Alien Romulus Annual. Now, we talked about this on Wednesday, and I didn't realize this was an annual. I thought this was maybe like the first issue of a mini-series, but I'm pretty sure it's an annual. It's the solicitations say it's an annual, and it doesn't look like there's any other. So, is there an Alien book out right now?
No.
For there to be an annual of? So
it's kind of like how Spider-Gwen had an annual when she didn't have an ongoing series. I guess it's kind of like that.
Yeah. But regardless, this is I believe it's a one-shot, but this is kind of a prequel to the recent Alien Romulus movie that just came out, which is very, very good. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. This is written by Zach Thompson. The art is by Daniel Picciotto. And in this one, it's going to just tell a story of how the xenomorphs found Rain and Andy and their scavenger crew that we saw in the movie, but it says that there are familiar faces lurking in the shadows, and this issue is going to shine a light on them all. So yeah, if you're a big Alien fan, if you really liked the recent movie, definitely pick this up because it's going to tie right into it. And it did say that when making this book, they actually worked in conjunction with some of the writers of the movie, so it's going to gel really well.
I think it's supposed to kind of talk about how the alien from the end of Alien 1 survived and ended up in Romulus.
Okay.
So I think that's really cool. It really is kind of a bridge between them.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so this is our A cover. We have a Marco Checchetto variant, and there is a movie variant. The Facehugger.
Facehugger. Okay, next up we have Superman Action Comics number 1070. So we're going to be talking about some of the new DC All-In titles. I guess they're not new titles, but they're the beginning of our All-In initiative.
Yeah, and we want to be clear again, nothing is getting rebooted. This is not a reboot. This is just the next issue of Action Comics. All the continuity is staying in place. It's just the start of a new story arc and the start of a new cover dress. We got the Bullet logo on there, but
it's an invitation. If you haven't been reading Action Comics, you can come in right here and you'll be on the ground floor of understanding everything. But if you're reading it now, it's just continuing through this. I'm really excited about this because this is going to be written by Mark Waid with the backup story by Mariko Tamaki. The Mark Waid stories art is going to be by Clayton Henry, and the Tamaki part is going to be Skylar Partridge. And this is going to be weekly for a little bit, which I'm actually really excited about. I like when they do weekly little events because it keeps the momentum up. It keeps your kind of memory of the story going really well.
Yeah, it's going to be weekly for 3 months. So
Wow.
there's a 12-part story. So for 3 months, for 12 weeks, we're getting a new issue of Action Comics every single week.
That's going to be
starting here.
awesome. And in this, something terrible has emerged from the Phantom Zone and is wreaking havoc on Metropolis. So Superman is actually going to have to go into the Phantom Zone to find out like what it is or how to stop it, that kind of thing. But maybe what he finds there is even more surprising. Well, it's always interesting when they go to the Phantom Zone.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's actually a place. Sometimes it's just mirrors floating in the sky.
Right.
But I'm very excited about this because you do see on the cover that Mon-El is there, which he does have a big tie-in with the Phantom Zone through his history and everything. What is it? Have we seen that character at the bottom?
Doesn't look familiar, but I don't want to.
There was a character called like Phantom something or whatever, but I'm not sure.
I don't want to declare new character because I haven't seen him, but that doesn't mean he's not been around before.
So, but I'm very excited about this. This is going to be awesome, and jump onto a cool weekly series. Plus, the backup story is going to be about Supergirl by Mariko Tamaki and Skylar Partridge, and it's from what I could tell, it sounds like it's like current continuity, what's going on with Supergirl now. It says Supergirl at Universe End. It also had the feeling of Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. So maybe kind of her in space, that kind of thing. So very excited about that. We've got our A cover here by Clayton Henry. That's your interior artist, so you know it's going to be awesome looking. We've got a Wes Craig variant. We've got an Eddie Barrows variant, which very much looks like it was part of the previous, where he did the art on that with the classic Superman. And we have the Daniel Sampere all-in foil variant. They're going to be doing these for all the books that are part of the all-in books going forward. So you can get all those and get a whole cool series.
Well, it's cool, too, because all of the books that are the beginning issue of the All-In Initiative, they're all doing, like you said, these foil variants. But the A covers are similar, too. And they're white background with the Bullet logo, the All-In branding, and then just like a nice shot of the characters. So, yeah, nice branding and everything there. And speaking of the All-In initiative, this is Green Lantern Civil Corps Special. Now, this is going to be a one-shot. It's written by Jeremy Adams and Philip Kennedy Johnson, and Salvador Larocca is doing the art. And the war for the fate of the Green Lantern Corps starts here. Theros, who has been sort of like the big villain in this in Jeremy Adams' run of Green Lantern so far, Theros sends a surprising foe to retrieve the Dark Star Ring from John Stewart, who got that in the Green Lantern War Journal series. And it's going to lead to a desperate plan to expose the United Planets as a force of evil, because the United Planets is supposed to be a good thing, but it's been sort of corrupted by Theros and all of his goons. And it does say that allies and enemies will join this special issue to launch the Green Lanterns in a direction that'll change the DC cosmos forever. So, like you said the other day, maybe this is going to lead into some kind of new Green Lantern Corps book. We don't know that for sure. But we do know that the Green Lantern War Journal book is over, so the only one right now is just the main Green Lantern with Hal Jordan. So this might lead into something big for the rest of the Green Lanterns, but we'll have to wait and see. But again, this is just a one-shot.
I do want to say, I did get to sample this book. I wish you had before so you could talk about it.
Oh, darn it.
But if you're reading Green Lantern, I think this is very important to read. And full of surprises.
Okay.
Characters that you didn't expect, returning in ways you didn't expect, and a final page reveal that is going to be really, really cool.
Oh, I wish I'd seen that. Okay.
For the Green Lantern book going forward. I'm very excited about this. And it just looks great.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful book.
Jeremy Adams' run of Green Lantern over the what is it, like 15 issues now, has been some of the best books on the stands, period. So I can't wait for this. And so this is our A cover, and it's cool to see they fixed the color on Hal Jordan's boots, because for the longest time they were white.
Yeah.
So that was bugging me. But yeah, so that's our A cover, which already looks awesome. We have a Salvador Larocca variant, so that's your interior artist for this. There is a Riccardo Federici variant, and there is the Daniel Sampere foil variant with Star Sapphire.
Very cool. Next up, we've got Marvel's Crypt of Shadows #1. They've been doing this about every year for the past few years. This is an anthology-style book. The only name they really named for the creative team is Benjamin Percy. Probably if you did a little bit deeper dive, you could find some of the others. But at least for the solicitation about what it's about, it doesn't give us a whole lot of information. It's just that the heroes of the Marvel Universe once again find themselves facing terrors that lie in the dark. but I feel like you get maybe a little hint from this cover. Some of the characters and stories we'll be seeing. It does usually involve Man-Thing because he's just
Yeah.
such a like quintessential Marvel horror character. Werewolf by Night. I think you probably will see each of these characters because it seems like they're very unique characters
Yeah.
to this cover. But if you're
Kind of weird to see Namor mixed in with them, though. Everybody else fits,
Yeah.
but Namor's a little bit fish out of water.
yeah, well, he's a fish in knee-deep water.
That's right.
But I'm very excited about this, especially seeing Kraven on the cover,
Yeah.
Man-Thing, Werewolf by Night. So, again, this is kind of Marvel's Halloween issue, anthology style, and these are always just really fun.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a fun, spooky read in the Marvel Universe, this is perfect for that. So we've got our A cover right here. We have a Juan Ferreira variant, which I don't know what's going on, but that's very cool looking. And we have a Martin Simmons variant, which we have the new Agatha show starting in just a couple of days.
Next week,
Yeah.
next Friday. Or next Wednesday, yeah. All right, this is Godfather of Hell #1. Now, we talked about this a few weeks ago. The release date has been pushed back a couple times, but here we are now with a new release date. This is written by Kevin Scott, and the art is by Pius Bach. And this is about a guy named Dario Santini. He's lived a good life as an enforcer for the mob. He's been a debt collector, that kind of thing, for the mob. But everything changes when he's just walking down the street one day and is shot dead. And he wakes up in hell and faces a future of pain and suffering unless he can turn eternal damnation into a business opportunity and, I guess, become the Godfather of Hell. So yeah, this sounds really cool. This is from Vault, who has been putting out a lot of great stuff for a long time now. Vault has some really cool things, so I can't wait to check this out. So this is our A cover. That is by Pius Bach. That's your interior artist. There is a B cover by Gooden. There is a Wu manga homage to, I want to say maybe like is that Crying Freeman?
I know that logo, but now with the different word there, I can't remember.
Right. Somebody let us know. There is a Howl Not Safe for Work black bag variant, and there is a Good and Bloody bag variant.
So they're changing up, and this one is a tie-in cover with the new Lilith series from Vault. So that's cool. Even before either series is out, they're having a little like crossover cover.
Yeah, nice.
Next up, we've got Batman and Robin #14, our next all-in title to be talking about. This is now going to be written by Philip Kennedy Johnson, and the art is by Javier Fernandez, but it is continuing the numbering and everything of the series. This is really cool. I also sampled a few pages of this. It looks great. The art, everything is really awesome. And in this one, it's really focusing on Damian as he's grown up. He's basically since birth been either part of the League of Assassins or part of the Bat family. But who is Damian Wayne outside of that? And as he is getting older, he's almost to the age that Bruce was when he headed out on his globe-trotting adventures to eventually become Batman. Maybe Damian starts wondering, like, well, what am I if I'm not one of these things? And they're going to be exploring that. But there's also going to be a villain popping up in Gotham that is reenacting some of the most traumatic crimes from Gotham's past, and Batman's going to need Robin more than ever. So sounds like kind of like a personal story and then kind of a big like crime thing going on as well.
It's really cool too because this is the first issue that Philip Kennedy Johnson is writing. Joshua Williamson was doing it before then. Issue 13 came out this week, and it also there's a really nice bit at the end where Robin really was trying to figure out, who am I?
Yeah.
And it's so they're like carrying that forward, even though it's a new writer and creative team. They're still carrying that theme forward.
Maybe they had a nice discussion about how to hand off the
Mm-hmm.
book. So very cool. And if you're looking for a time to jump into Batman and Robin, this is a great place to do it. So we've got our A cover here. We have a Simone DeMeo variant. We have a Yannick Paquette variant. We have a Christopher Mitten variant. And we have our Daniel Sampere all-in foil variant.
This is Hysteria #0, but it's actually just a one-shot. This is written by Elliot Rahl and co-written by Phil Collin of Def Leppard. And the art is by Alex Schiltz. And this is about a woman named Foz. She is the front woman for an indie band called Darkside. And she inherits her father's estate when he passes on. And with that comes a guitar that she remembers from her childhood. And the guitar speaks to her of fame and success, and eventually delivers on those promises. And when I was reading it first, I was like, "Oh, this is a little bit of a supernatural thing," but maybe I don't know that it's that. I think it's maybe just like, "Oh, I know that if I use that guitar, there's something special. I know I'll be big." But they're about to one night they're about to go. Her band is about to go on stage with Def Leppard, but before that happens, the guitar is stolen, and Foz will go on a warpath to get it back. So just a really cool. There's been a lot of these. Slash did the Darkstalker.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of cool books like this lately. Or just by
Musicians.
co-written by musicians and things like that. So this sounds like another one. And I believe this one's from Vault as well, so that means it's going to be great. And this is our only cover as well.
Next up, I want to talk about Wolverine #2 because Wolverine #1 just came out and it was fantastic. One of my favorite ones from the new, from the Ashes era of X-Men. And want to talk about this one too because that Wendigo you see on the cover is a new Wendigo.
Oh, okay.
So Wendigo stalks Wolverine, but this isn't the one you know. Because this is the debut of a new Wendigo, and what secret is it hiding that will shape Wolverine's mission? So, if you read the first one, I wonder if maybe this Wendigo has encountered maybe a certain metal or something like that. We'll have to see. But this goes back to the classic, even first appearance of Wolverine with the Wendigo. So I can't wait for this. It feels like we said with the first one, it's kind of Wolverine back to basics.
Right.
And what's more basic than his first fight with the Wendigo?
And the first issue was in the snowy wilderness. I mean, everything was super classic about it.
Yeah, so hopefully everyone check that out. I feel like this is going to be one of the top books from Marvel now. So this is our A cover for that. We have our Carlos Gomez Marvel Comics Presents variant, which I love that. Wolverine can't stop fighting ninjas to read his comic.
That's how good Storm #1 is going to be when it comes out. He cannot put it down, even to fight the hand ninjas.
We also have this really nice, this is the Francesco Mobley Doom variant. We have a Yoon variant with maybe that's kind of a look, because that looks similar to our other Wendigo, but maybe a little bit sleeker.
Yeah,
almost.
right.
I love this one. This is the Roja Antonio Godzilla variant, and I love the blast taking off all of his skin and everything.
Great.
And of course, we got a Scotty Young cover, and that one's really funny too about his new costume.
Oh yeah, they should do a movie where those two are together. That'd be really cool.
I don't know.
You don't think so?
I don't think it would make over $1 billion.
Okay.
Next up, we got other #1s because there's still more hits coming.
Well, we saw that awesome Godzilla
This is insane,
cover.
by the way. This book is insane.
This sounds crazy. So this is called Godzilla Monsterpiece Theater. This is written and drawn by Tom Scioli, who did X-Men Grand Design.
Yeah.
He did the I don't remember the title, but that Jack Kirby book that was really cool.
Yeah.
And this is set in 1922, and it's basically Godzilla takes on the Great Gatsby.
Classic literature.
Right, which is the craziest thing ever. So, just to give you an idea about what the story is, millionaire Jay Gatsby, he loves throwing his big, extravagant parties until, that is, they attract the ire of Godzilla. And Godzilla's going to come and smash up his mansion, and Jay Gatsby's going to be out for revenge. Now, it does say this story is going to take place over the course of 3 oversized issues, as Jay Gatsby will team up with the greatest men of the 20th century, including Sherlock Holmes and the Time Machinist. You can see there on the cover, and a mystery character down there on the bottom. Is that maybe Dracula? Because he looks like he's got,
and he's got a D.
Yeah.
He's got a D on it. Yeah, this is just the coolest thing ever. This is just like a kid just sketching and being like, and I'm going to add in this character and this character. It's awesome.
This sounds like, or somebody who is, somebody who's very literary, is like, I want to write a story where all the great characters from the 20s join together. And I'm going to throw Godzilla in there too, because that would just be fun. So yeah, this sounds like bizarre fun.
Almost like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen with Godzilla.
Yeah, for sure. So this is going to be great. So this is our A cover by Tom Scioli, and then he did the B cover as well.
Which is a great play on the classic cover of the book.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Minky Woodcock, The Girl Called Cthulhu. If you've never read any of these, this is still part of the Hard Case Crime series. They've done stuff like Gun Hunting and all that. These are great. And Minky Woodcock is really fun, too, because She's kind of like a plucky detective and everything, but in a setting that's very like Lovecraftian and stuff. And in this one, she has an investigation that has an occult twist because she's going to be encountering H.P. Lovecraft himself.
Oh.
And this is written and drawn by Cynthia Von Bueller. And if you haven't seen her art, it's really incredible, really interesting, and very artistic and all of that. So if you're looking for another cool crime kind of detective story, you've got this one. Almost reminds me of Fatal a little bit, with the Lovecraftian meets detective. This is your A cover by Selena. We have a photo variant and a Samson variant. That almost looks like the art on the inside. It's very colorful and
nice.
Kind of a little surreal.
Next is Headless Horseman Halloween Annual, which is, again, just a one-shot. This is written by David Dasmalchian. He's been doing a lot of stuff lately, yeah. And also by, sorry, I lost my place. Also by Lucas Kettner, and the artist by Matt Smith. There's not a whole lot in the solicitations about this specifically, but it sounds like there's just going to be feature a couple of spooky stories featuring the Headless Horseman, and this comes out on October 23rd, 1 week before Halloween, so it's going to be right in that great time to get some cool spooky stories.
I always love this too because they've done this before. The Dark Horse logo in the corner is a skeleton horse.
Okay, yeah.
Instead of a regular horse.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like their anthology horror
Right.
book, but it's just one issue.
Yeah, very cool. So I'm excited for this, especially with the time of year it's coming out. It's perfect.
Yep.
So that's our A cover by Kettner, and then there's a Francavilla cover, which
So
I
cool.
would love.
There's a
that,
Mignola cover last year. Now you
Yeah.
got a Francavilla cover. Just the hits of horror.
Right.
And the skull.
Yeah,
and the
that's
moon.
great.
So cool. Next up, we got notable 2s and 3s continuations of big series. Starting off with Star Wars The Battle of Jakku, Insurgency Rising #2. I actually looked at the dates of these. This is going to be a bi-monthly series. So every other week you're going to be getting an issue of this.
Wait, bi-monthly? That's every
Bi-weekly.
Bi-weekly, okay,
Bi-weekly series. Who knows what those mean? Bi-weekly series. And this is really cool. So in this one, Luke hunts for a lost Jedi relic but makes a startling discovery. Plus, the underworld simmers with intrigue now that Jabba the Hutt has died and the Hutt cartel is leaderless. And it looks like you're going to be seeing Bib Fortuna as he steps into that role that we see all the way until the Book of Boba Fett. And then we have Leia and Mon Mothma have to deal with a defiant Imperial, or I guess kind of former Imperial now that they're over, who is hell-bent on preserving Palpatine and Vader's legacy. So this just sounds like you're going to get a lot of story kind of spread out. And we know this is one of 3 miniseries.
Right, and I think that's right.
Yeah, there's 3 miniseries, each 4 issues each, that are going to be telling the story from Return of the Jedi till the Battle of Jakku and kind of the stuff that happened that reshaped the galaxy. So don't miss out on this, especially since we're going to be getting the last issue of Darth Vader this next week. Star Wars ended this week, so this is going to be your Star Wars title for a little while going forward. So everyone jump on this one to continue the Star Wars story. We've got our A cover right here. We have the 25th anniversary Phantom Menace cover. And we have a Sabat cover, which
Who's that?
We don't know who that is
Okay.
yet, and I feel like that's going to be maybe the Imperial they're talking about or whatever, but very cool looking character. And possibly, I think they appeared a little on issue 1's cover, but this is kind of spotlighting.
Yeah, very cool. Well, this is Avengers Assemble #2. 2 of 5. Unfortunately, I want this to be an ongoing because it's a really cool premise, and the first issue was great. So in this one, so each issue of this is going to feature a different small group of Avengers taking on some kind of threat. And in this one, it's Captain America, Hawkeye, Night Thrasher, and Hercules. They are going to investigate a small New England town that is being tormented by, as you can see on the cover, the Red Ghost and his super apes. I don't even remember the last time we've seen the Red Ghost.
No one understands him enough to write him.
Right.
But
he's great.
Yeah.
He's a great villain. Went up against the Fantastic Four a lot in the 60s and 70s. So yeah, I can't wait to check this one out. Every issue of this is just kind of a one and done story, a different group of Avengers taking on a different threat, and this one sounds like a lot of fun. So this is our A cover. There is a Scott Koblish variant. I love that.
That's cool.
And then there is a Will Sportatio jacket variant because they all got jackets.
Night Thrasher, it seems like, has really insisted on them wearing these jackets
Yeah.
we found. Even Hercules, who never wears a shirt, is wearing a jacket.
Right.
I wish there was a character like a Gambit who's wearing a jacket over his jacket.
Over his jacket, right?
Because
Yeah.
Night Thrasher insists. Next up, we've got Werewolf by Night number 3. I really like the first issue. We have not got the second issue yet. But this will look cool because the solicitation doesn't mention Moon Knight in it, but he's there on the A cover, which is really cool. But since Jack Russell doesn't know if he can trust himself in his transformation, all that, he has decided to drop himself into the Savage Lands.
Oh.
So you're going to get Werewolf by Night in the Savage Land, maybe Werewolf by Night fighting dinosaurs. That's just cool stuff right there. So we've got our A cover right here. And we have a Sergio Davila variant, which that's your interior artist.
And the second issue I just looked up is September 25th.
Okay.
So in case you're wanting to get all those. This is, sorry about that, I got sidetracked with that. This is a Venom War Deadpool number 2. This is going to be a 3-issue tie-in miniseries to the Venom War storyline going on right now. In this one, Frankenstein's monster and Man-Thing show up to help Deadpool fight off all the zombiotes that are running rampant through New York. But it does say that there's going to be another surprise guest star that you will not see coming, in capital letters, not see coming. So I don't know who it could be.
So start naming every character so
that we can say we were right. Yeah.
Say we were right.
But yeah, so just cool adventures with Deadpool and some zombiotes and some other spooky characters coming out in the middle of October. So that's perfect timing. So this is our A cover. There is a Todd Knock variant.
I love that one.
And then so that's Venom War Deadpool. There's also Venom War Venomous number 3. This is the last issue of this tie-in miniseries.
2 comes out, I think, this coming week.
That's right. Yeah, we'll be talking about that on Monday probably. In this one, Black Widow's doing everything she can to try to quell the zombiote outbreak. But who is going to protect her when her own symbiote goes bad?
Uh-oh.
So they've actually had a really good symbiotic relationship. She trained a symbiote with some of her training, and they were working in lockstep with each other. But maybe something's going to go wrong that we haven't seen yet. Maybe we'll see it next week in number 2.
Is this the end of her relationship with her symbiote?
Possibly, maybe. So yeah, this is the A cover, and then there is a Jessica Fong variant also.
Next up, we've got Minor Arcana number 2. I really like number 1. Jeff Lemire writing and drawing this small town story about this character named Teresa coming home. But we are continuing this one where Teresa has discovered that she actually may share her mother's powers, which she thought her mom was a fake fortune teller, all of that. But in this, she enters the frightening memories of the dead, searching for peace for a desperate client of her late mother's. And we've seen in the first one where someone came knocking on the door, and she's like, okay, I'll fleece this person out of some money, and realized that maybe she has a little bit more powers than she thought. But Teresa's anger and unhealed past will do more than muddy the waters, and not to mention a mysterious dark figure begins trailing her. So really cool, number 1, and I'm really looking forward to this series continuing. So this is your A cover by Jeff Lemire. We also have a Murakami variant and the FOC Reveal variant.
This is DC versus Vampires World War V, number 3 of 12. And this one sounds really cool. So, Green Arrow is kind of reluctantly... Green Arrow and his little human faction are reluctantly working with Barbara Gordon's vampire army because they want Damian Wayne's head, because he sort of, he did some bad things and they want to get after him. And they're actually closing in on him, and it looks like his days might be numbered until a Dark Knight emerges from the shadows and offers unexpected salvation. You can see on the cover.
But I don't know if that's a Batman you know.
Yeah, I don't know, because I think, didn't Batman die? Well, Bruce Wayne supposedly died, I don't even remember, way before this series. So who is that Batman coming in? I have no idea, but his costume is awesome. I love the yellow bat.
The yellow bat.
Yeah, very cool. So we'll have to wait and see who it is. If the face is covered, it kind of looks, reminds me of like Jace Fox, from Future State,
yeah.
what he kind of looks like. So we'll have to see who that is. But this is our A cover by Otto Schmidt, and then there is a Kendrick Kunka Lim variant also with Vampire Wonder Woman.
Next up, we got the Autumn Kingdom #2. #1 of this was also great, where the now the sisters Summer and Winter are shaken from their encounter with goblins who have just broken into their vacation home and stolen their parents. But they found this seems to be magic sword that has given them mysterious and surprising strength and agility and all of that. So now they're going to have to save their parents from this very like whimsical, almost storybook like world that they found themselves in. But issue 1 of this was really, really good.
Yeah, it was good.
Love Cullen Bunn's writing. And we also have this Meath and Sigala variant as well. And there's that big, weird, chunky sword that maybe came from a statue in the woods. Next up, we got cool covers, starting with
Ultimate Spider-Man #10, and this is an investigative mystery issue focusing on J. Jonah Jameson and Ben Parker. You know, they're in this world of shadows where every unturned rock leads to danger, but they'll soon have to decide which is the greater challenge, uncovering secrets or keeping them. And I wonder what that means, because they are trying to uncover secrets. They just started their own little news startup, but what secrets are they trying to keep?
Yeah,
That's what I'm kind of wondering. So
maybe
yeah,
they find out about
Spider-Man. Yeah, I don't know.
And a cool homage cover, pretty much.
Yeah, very, very much. So, and I love Jonah and Ben's relationship in this book. Like, they work so well together. Two old curmudgeons that just want to put the news out there, and we're going to get a lot of them in this issue. So this is our A cover, and then there is a Bengal variant.
The whole gang.
Yep.
Kind of your whole cast so far, pretty much.
So far.
Next up, we have Uncanny X-Men #4. So this series has been great, and this one, it finds Rogue by herself alone against a power of darkness. And don't quite know what this is, but the way, there is a character that was introduced in the last issue or so that seems like they have very dark powers.
Yeah.
And I wonder if maybe something goes on with
Well,
that.
that looks like the character at the end of #2.
Yeah. So what's going to happen? And it does mention that they lose one of their members.
Oh.
So what's going on? Who knows?
But that just means they lost them in the woods. They're not like nothing. I'm
I
sure
think it
nothing
said
bad.
something worse than that. I just can't remember the wording. But they might be dead. So this is our A cover. We've got a Jessica Fong variant. Awesome Gambit cover. We have a John Ovecchio Nightcrawler.
I love that. Nightcrawler is my favorite X-Man, and that
It's just
love
iconic
that.
look. Oh, he just needs a little saber in his tail.
Yeah, right.
And we
Ooh,
have
I like that
a
too.
Rod Rice Doom variant.
We have Miles Morales Spider-Man #25, and in this one, Miles is still a vampire. His vampiric bloodlust is out of control, but Black Panther shows up to try to stop him. And the solicitation doesn't say anything about a new costume, but it sure is on a couple of covers here.
Yeah,
So
it's his new adamantium
but I don't.
vibranium suit.
I guess he gets it here.
Yeah, I don't know, because there's an incentive cover, a 1 in 10, that's the design cover for the new suit. But you would think they would mention that unless maybe he gets at the end of the previous issue.
Yeah,
but we haven't seen that yet.
Right, I'm just not sure where the suit first shows up, but it's on the covers here, and it looks really cool too. I like it a lot. Plus, it says there is a bonus story with Miles and Deadpool.
Ooh.
So that should be really cool. So this is our Manhanini new costume variant. We have an Annie Wu Doom variant, which that is not the new costume. And then there's a Sarah Pacelli variant with his like Venom lighted up suit.
Light it up.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Blood Hunters #3. And in this one, it just says that it's an all-out action issue as the Blood Coven, who are still around, make a strike against the Blood Hunters. So they've went on the offensive. And this is the David Messina variant, but it's kind of one of those color hold variants.
It's like the John Tyler Christopher stuff, yeah. Next is Transformers #13, and this is the start of a new story arc, the secret origin of Starscream. After his battle with the Decepticons, Starscream has been left for dead, but the secret to surviving his future may be revisiting his shocking past. We actually haven't seen Starscream in a few issues because
since Shockwave just
just
tore him
laid
up.
into him, yeah. So, but the end of issue 12, which was the last, which is the end of the second story arc, was phenomenal. And now we're gonna get a new story here. So this is our A cover, and then there's a Jorge Corona and Spice. There's a spoiler variant.
It's a spoiler
So
variant.
I don't really know what the spoiler is.
Nope, that's
Nope.
why it's a spoiler.
That's why it's a spoiler.
Next up, we have Geiger number 7. This one's really fun, and this is the variant cover by Paul Pelletier. And in this one, Geiger and friends come across a hidden community in the wasteland, with echoes of what once was suburban America. But of course, this has to be too good to be true.
Right. There's got to be something to it.
But I really hope we do see Geiger get to mow the lawn
and
do all that. But it sounds really cool. Very Fallout, that kind of like 1950s, but kind of twisted. But series continues to be great. That last issue, that Barney issue, was so good.
Really good.
So we've got this Pelletier cover right here.
We have Scarlett number 5, and this is the end of this run of Scarlett. Everything that Scarlett, Storm Shadow, and Jinx have been planning comes to a head, and it says the Energon universe will change forever. I don't really know how. And it says that the road to G.I. Joe number 1 ends here, because the next thing we're going to get in November is G.I. Joe number 1, but G.I. Joe in the Energon universe, not the Real American Hero, like separate book. So it's all, we're
leading right up to the big thing.
Yeah, for sure. So this is the B cover by Sia
Next up, we have graphic novels and more, and there's quite a few really great ones on this one, starting with DC's finest, The Flash, the Human Thunderbolt. And this is going to basically have, that's the first appearance of Barry Allen as Flash. So it's going to have his first appearance in Showcase number 4, and then issue 8, plus 13 through 14, and The Flash issues 105 through 123. So if you want to see the very beginning of Barry Allen, Flash, that's all right here.
If you want to see the start of the Silver Age of comics.
Seriously, this is what they consider to be the first Silver Age comic.
Right.
When they decided to revamp some of their Golden Age characters. And, this led to Hal Jordan is Green Lantern.
Yep.
It led to the modern Justice League. Everything started right here. Oh, and that was $39.99.
It was a great price. I'm definitely getting that for sure. All right, so this is the Deadpool by Cody Ziglar trade paperback volume 1. So this just collects the first 5 issues of the current run of Deadpool, where he teams up with Taskmaster, kind of starts his own little, I won't say mercenary group, but like he starts his own little
business.
So like here villains or whatever for hire, I guess. We see some of his daughter in this, and it's really cool. He goes up against Death Grip. And me not being the biggest fan of Deadpool in the comics, I really, really enjoyed it. So this is a great trade to get if you're a Deadpool fan. It's going to be $17.99, and the first 5 issues of this run.
Next up, we have Doctor Doom by Christopher Cantwell and Salvador Larocca. This collects a series from a little while ago, but perfect timing now that everybody's talking about Doom. And in this, I remember reading this series and really enjoying it, because there's a terrible thing that happens, a terrible act of violence that is blamed on Doctor Doom, which, he's been known to do, but he's not taking responsibility for something he did not do. And it's especially bad that they pin on him. And so this is him actually trying to clear his name for a crime he didn't commit. But who does Doctor Doom turn to get help? And there's a lot of fun guest stars in this.
Doom needs no help.
This one he does.
Okay.
Because he pretty much gets exiled from Latveria.
Oh, wow,
and
okay.
it's bad for him. But this collects Doctor Doom 1 through 10. Plus, it also has War of the Realms War Scrolls number 3, the backup story from that.
Okay.
And King in Black, Iron Man, Doctor Doom number 1.
That
That's where they find the
Christmas story.
symbiote Santa.
Right.
So just a nice little cap at the end of this story. But this is going to be $34.99.
Yeah, I can't wait for that one. This is the X-Men 97 Great Expectations trade paperback. It's going to be $15.99 and just collects the 4-issue X-Men 97 miniseries that was a prequel to the very, very awesome X-Men 97 cartoon that just ended a couple months back. So if you're trying to get all of it together, this is the book to get.
Yeah, especially if you like that team, that tone and everything.
Yeah.
We've got it right here. Next up, we have Star Wars Darth Vader Modern Marvels Epic Era Collection Volume 1. all the words. But this is really cool. So they've been doing these modern epic collections that collect newer series, but that maybe haven't been in print for a little while. But this is collecting the Karen Gillan and Salvador Larocca run of Darth Vader, which was actually the first Darth Vader, like right when Marvel got the license to do Star Wars again.
I was going to ask if this is the first.
This is the 2015
okay.
when it started.
The one that ran parallel with the Star Wars.
Yeah, with the Jason Aaron Star Wars. So this collects issues 1 through 12, plus the director's cut of number 1, which is like a black and white version of it, and the first annual. So this is all set right after A New Hope, before Empire Strikes Back, and it's Vader dealing with the destruction of the first Death Star and really having to answer for that. And it's really good. This one definitely leans more towards kind of the imperial political side of things, with Gillen creating a lot of like higher up imperial characters that are really cool that we still see now. But yeah, this is great, and this would have the first appearance of Dr. Aphra in issue 3.
Okay.
So that's that era of it, and this is going to be $39.99. So.
And I think they did an omnibus of this at one point, but I think it's out of print now, and I didn't get it. I kind of wish I had, so this is going to be great if you missed that.
This is a great jumping in point if you haven't read any of the modern Star Wars
Which I have,
stuff. This is a great book.
Yeah, it's going to be great. All right, so we have some big boy books, some omnibuses. The first one is Daredevil by Ann Nocenti and John Romita Jr. Omnibus Volume 1. This is going to be $100, and it collects Daredevil number 234 through 266 and Punisher number 10. So you're going to get some really cool, probably like early 90s-ish, like that time period. You get some Typhoid Mary in here. So I don't think this is a new printing. I think this is the first time it's been collected in an omnibus. So can't wait for this to go with all the other great Daredevil omnibuses they've released over the last couple of years. This is our standard edition cover, which you can find at any bookstore, and then there is a direct market cover, which you can only find at comic book stores like ours. And then there is the X-Men Fatal Attractions omnibus. And this is going to be $100 as well. And this is the story where all the different X-Men teams joined up to take on the Acolytes, Magneto's Acolytes. And this is the story where Magneto pulls the adamantium out of Wolverine. So all that happens there. I had this poster on my wall in my bedroom back in the early 90s when I was a kid. So I can't wait to try this one out. So there's 3 covers for this one. This is one of the direct market covers. There is a Capullo direct market cover, and then there's a John Romita Jr. standard edition cover, which is this was a nice shiny foil cover with Uncanny number 300.
Number 3.
Yeah, that was a super classic one. And then another one I'm really excited about. This is the Deathstroke the Terminator by Marv Wolfman Omnibus Volume 1. So this is like your late 80s Deathstroke, a little bit after Crisis on Infinite Earths. This is going to be $125 and collects Deathstroke number 1 through 25, annuals number 1 and 2. And several other Deathstroke appearances from around that time. I think New Teen Titans number 70 and some other things like that too. So this is going to be really, really cool. Just some cool like late 80s, early 90s Deathstroke stuff, which is really fun. And this is the only cover for this one.
Next up, we've got some other printings of books, starting with Transformers number 6. This is the 3rd printing cover, which is so cool. And then we also have Transformers number 8 2nd printing, and this is like the ones we've been getting by Jason Howard, this time with Ultra Magnus.
Still my great regret that I haven't been collecting all of these covers. They would look so great together.
Yeah, imagine flipping through and they all have that very similar look. So cool.
And we have the Batman number 237 facsimile edition. This is the first appearance of the Reaper, which you see there on the cover. But this issue was really cool because this features kind of sort of cameo appearances by several different Marvel characters, but it's actually just people wearing costumes of Marvel characters. It takes place in a town called Rutland, Vermont, which is a real town. They used to have Halloween parades through there, which is like kind of your first like big like comic book centric parade back in the 60s and 70s. It was run by a guy named Tom, I think it's Flanagan, who is a real person, and he's in this issue as well. And it also features brief cameos by real world comic creators Bernie Wrightson, Jerry Conway, and Alan Weiss. And art by Neil Adams. Like, this is just a really cool mid 70s. I think this was 71 or 72, so early 70s Batman books to get. This is really cool.
Perfect. This is also kind of a Halloween book.
Yep, for sure.
And there's one, like, all of them has a sketch cover, like a blank cover, and a foil cover as well. And that is it for Comics from the Future. Like we said, it was a big week, especially kicking it off with Absolute Batman, which all of y'all need to go and pre-order because it's going to be huge.
It is awesome. It's so good.
Get in on the beginning of the Absolute universe with that one. So don't forget, head over to infinityflux.net right now and place your pre-orders. Like I said earlier on, pre-orders are due Sunday at 6 o'clock, so you don't miss out on any of the comic goodness. And stay tuned for our show coming up on Monday, where we'll be going over many of the books that are coming out next week. Some big ones as well coming out next week, so don't miss that.
And next Wednesday is our next episode of the Infinity Flux Letters page, our sort of loser show where we stream it live. We talk to you live while we're doing
show.
it. No, loser. No, definitely not loser show.
Not loser
we're
show.
Full of winners. But so if you have any questions that you want us to talk about on that show, any comments that you want us to just...
Or kind of topics.
Topics, whatever you want, leave them in the comment to this video or maybe the comments in next Monday's videos. We will compile those together and we'll have a good time next Wednesday.
Yes, absolutely. So until next time, see ya.